Everyone wants motivation. People wait for it. They watch videos for it. Like this, they listen to podcasts for it. They search for it constantly because motivation feels powerful. For a moment, you feel clear, focused, excited, ready to change your life. But then Tuesday arrives. You're tired, busy, distracted, and overwhelmed. And suddenly that motivation that you found disappears. And that right there is the problem with building your life around emotion, because emotions change. And if your actions only happen when you feel motivated, your entire future becomes dependent on your mood. And that is unstable. The people who actually change their lives understand something very important. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you moving. Motivation is not bad. It can be useful. Sometimes it's the spark that wakes you up, the moment that gives you hope again, or that feeling that pushes you to take the first step. But motivation is emotional energy, and emotional energy fluctuates. Nobody stays permanently motivated. Not athletes or writers or parents, not business owners or people in healthy marriages. Every meaningful thing in life eventually becomes difficult, repetitive, frustrating, or even exhausting. If motivation alone was enough, everyone would have a great body, a strong family, financial stability, and a meaningful life. Because almost everyone feels motivated occasionally. But the difference is not who feels motivated. The difference is who continues after that feeling disappears. Now, discipline is often misunderstood. People think discipline means punishment, or intensity, or just being emotionally cold. But discipline is simpler than that. Discipline is remembering what matters when your feelings are trying to pull you somewhere else. It is choosing the long-term good over the short-term comfort. That's all it really is. You wake up early because the future matters more than the comfort of staying in bed. You save money because stability matters more than impulse. You stay calm during conflict because the relationship matters more than winning the argument. Discipline is not about never having temptation. It's about not letting temptation make your decisions for you. And all that matters because feelings are temporary, but the consequences are often permanent. Now, as I've said before, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is waiting to feel ready before they act. Most successful people don't rely on readiness. They rely on structure. They create routines, schedules, habits, boundaries, and standards, because systems protect you from emotional inconsistency. If you only exercise when you feel like it, then you'll only exercise randomly. If you only work on your goals when you feel inspired, progress becomes unpredictable. If you only act responsibly when you feel emotionally strong, life becomes chaotic. Discipline creates reliability, and reliability changes lives. Not dramatic effort once a month, but rather repeated effort over years. That is where transformation happens. Modern culture can often treat discipline like oppression, as though rules, structure, and restraint limits freedom. But the opposite is actually true. Discipline creates freedom. Financial discipline creates financial freedom. Physical discipline creates health and well-being. Emotional discipline creates healthy relationships. Intellectual discipline creates competence. And moral discipline creates trust. Without discipline, impulses take control. And a life controlled completely by impulses becomes unstable very quickly. The person who cannot control their spending becomes trapped by debt. The person who cannot control their anger damages their relationships. The person who cannot control distraction loses years of potential. Freedom is not the ability to do whatever it is you feel like. Real freedom is the ability to direct your life intentionally. And discipline is the thing that makes that possible. Now here's the deeper layer that people often miss. Discipline is not just about productivity. It changes how you see yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your mind notices. Every time you follow through, even when it's difficult, you build trust in yourself, and confidence is built from evidence, not from pretending, not from repeated affirmations alone, but from repeated proof. You become someone who says, I do what I say I will do. That identity matters because eventually your standards become part of your character. You are no longer forcing yourself to act responsibly. Responsibility becomes part of who you are. Motivation asks, how do I feel? Discipline asks, who do I want to become? This may be the most important distinction. Motivation is centered around emotions. Discipline is centered around identity. Motivation says, I'll do it when I'm ready. Discipline says, I'm going to do this because of the type of person I'm trying to become. That shift changes everything because now your actions are connected to meaning instead of mood. You train because you want to become strong. You study because you want to become capable. You stay patient because you want to become wise. You tell the truth because you want to be trustworthy. Discipline is not random suffering. It is intentional behavior connected to a vision of who you are trying to become. The modern life is built around stimulation. Quick dopamine, quick entertainment, quick emotional highs. So people become addicted to feeling inspired instead of becoming consistent. They watch self-improvement content for hours, but never build routines. They consume motivation instead of building discipline. And eventually they confuse emotional excitement with progress. But motivation without action changes nothing. Real growth usually looks quite boring. Repetition, consistency, patience, small changes over time. That is why disciplined people often outperform naturally motivated people, because motivation fades, but structure remains. So, how do you build discipline? Start smaller than your ego wants to. You don't build a perfect life overnight. Build proof. One walk, one workout, one page written, one honest conversation, one morning getting up when you said you would. Then repeat it. The goal is not intensity, it's consistency. Because consistency builds identity, and identity sustains behavior. But also understand this. You're not trying to eliminate emotion. You're just trying to stop emotion from ruling your life. Some days, you're going to feel motivated. Good. Use it. But the days that truly shape your character are the days where you continue without it. Motivation is powerful but unreliable. If you build your future on motivation alone, your progress will rise and fall with your emotions. Discipline is different. Discipline creates stability, structure, momentum, and self-respect. It allows you to keep moving when life becomes difficult, repetitive, or uncertain. And that matters because meaningful lives are not built in moments of inspiration. They are built in the ordinary days. The days where nobody is watching, where you are tired, the days where you go and do the right thing anyway. That is where character is formed. Not in excitement, but in consistency. Motivation can change your mood for a moment. Discipline can change your life forever.